Good morning, children. How are you all? And welcome back to our new class. And today we're going to start with a new chapter. Alright, we had finished traffic surgery. I hope you people understood the chapter. If you didn't understand, please get back to me. Alright, okay. Today we're going to start a new story. The name of the story is The Thief's Story. So as the name of the chapter suggests, it is very obvious. It's a story about a thief. Okay. Now let's see what it is about. Now in this story there are two main characters. The first one is a thief and second is a man named Anil. Alright. Now the story is actually that how the thief, who is a very young boy, alright, he becomes friends with Anil, and how Anil behaves with him and how he changes his life. Alright, what are the circumstances of it by which the whole life of this thief changes. Okay. So let's see how. It's a very simple story again. All these stories are very simple. Okay. So the story, let me start. Okay. The thief's story. A young boy makes friends with Anil. Anil trusts him completely and employs him. And let's see, does the boy betray his trust or he stays truthful to him? That is the story about. Alright. Okay, I was still a thief when I met Anil, and though only 15, I was an experienced and fairly successful hand. A fairly successful hand means that the thief was 15 years old, he was very young, and he was just 15 but he was very good at his work. And what was his work? Robbery, not that dacoit. He was not a dacoit. He was as the people who cut pockets. Yeah, they are pickpocketers. We call them pickpocketers. So he was a pickpocketer, and he had fairly hands-on. He was very good at his work. He was very fast and very clean with his work. So he had a lot of experience. You can imagine, till 15 years. He was very experienced. Anil was watching a wrestling match when I approached him. He was about 25, a tall, lean fellow, and he looked easygoing, kind and simple enough for my purpose. I hadn't had much luck of late, and thought I might be able to get into the young man's confidence. So, it was a fair which was it was a fair going on, and this boy, he was looking out for a prey, okay, so that he could get some money out of that person. And he sees Anil standing and seeing a wrestling match. You know, in many fairs they arrange wrestling matches, like they call dangal, yes. So that was going on, and he saw Anil. Anil was a 25-year-old young man. He was a tall fellow, and he looked very kind, and he was very simple looking. So this boy thought, okay, he is perfect from appearance. He looks a perfect person to be robbed, and he thought, okay, I can. And rob means basically that he can get in conversation with this person, and while being in conversation, he can do his work. Alright, that was the main thing. So he thought, okay, he will get into whatever I say, he might believe that. You look a bit of a wrestler yourself, I said. A little flattery helped in making friends. So he started off with the casual, he just went and he stood next to Anil, and he just started the conversation by, you look like a wrestler yourself, that way, and just to break the ice. He just started like a compliment kind. He started. So do you. he replied, which put me off for a moment because at that time I was rather thin. Well, I said modestly, I do wrestle a bit. What's your name? Hari Singh. I lied. I took a name new every month that kept me ahead of the police and my former employers. So what happened? They got into conversation, and when the thief told Anil that you look like a wrestler yourself, so in return, he also replied by giving him a compliment saying, so do you. Even though the thief was not sure and he knew that he was just complimenting him or just saying it for saying sake, because at that time he was very thin and he himself knew that he didn't look like a wrestler, but he just, for taking the conversation ahead, he said, well, I also wrestle sometimes. I wrestle, he just said a little bit, I wrestle here and there. And then Anil asked him his name, and what name did the thief give? It was Hari Singh. Now what was it the thief's real name? No, it was not his real name. It was a false name which he always did whenever he met a new person whom he wanted to rob. What he used to do? He used to pick up a new name. So why he used to do? So that he couldn't get caught by police or his previous employers, where he used to do any fraud or whatever fraud he used to do. He wouldn't get caught because of the name, because they wouldn't know the name. Alright. So he again picked up a new name, and this time it was Hari Singh. After this introduction, Anil talked about the well-oiled wrestlers who were grunting, lifting and throwing each other about. I didn't have much to say. Anil walked away. I followed casually. Hello again, he said. I gave him my most appealing smile. I want to work for you, I said, but I can't pay you. Anil said, I thought that over for a minute. Perhaps I had misjudged my man. Okay, so what happened was, then they were after asking the name and they were having a casual conversation. After the introduction was over and all, they started just commenting on the wrestlers who were wrestling, about their well-oiled body, they oil their bodies, and they were making grunting noises, that kind of noise, and lifting them and throwing them, or whatever they were doing. They were having they both were commenting on it, and they were having a casual conversation about it. And then, after that, Anil just moved away from the place and went ahead. Hari Singh, he followed him because of course he wanted to, catch hold of him and to get his work done. So he followed Anil, and again on another counter, he just bumped into him and said hello again. And this time he did not waste the time. Here, wherever it is I, it is the thief which is narrating the story, okay? So don't get confused, who is I? I is the narrator, that is the thief, alright? And that is Hari Singh for now. Alright, so when he met, he just said hello, and Hari Singh gave a very pleasant smile. Now imagine he was a 15-year-old boy. So he just, gave a nice smile to Anil, and he didn't waste time at all, and he just bluntly asked for work. He said, I want to work for you. But Anil, he said that I can't pay you. He didn't have that much money to pay someone for doing work for him. And then at the moment, Hari Singh was puzzled, and he thought for a moment, and in his mind he thought, I have chosen a wrong guy. He looks rich, but he is actually not. He doesn't have money. So what should I do? He was thinking in his mind that he has misjudged the person. I have caught the wrong person for doing fraud. And then he said, okay, then I asked, as the thief is asking, can you feed me? And then Anil asked, can you cook? And he says, I can cook. I lied again. If you can cook, then maybe I can feed you. So they started having a conversation, and Anil, when he said that when Hari Singh was in a dilemma that whether I should work or I've got the wrong person. At that time he says, okay, fine. Hari Singh says, okay, fine. But he asks, can you at least give me food? Can you feed me means, can you give me food? And Anil asked, can you cook? Whether Hari Singh knew how to cook. And he said, yes, I can. But actually, again, he was lying. He couldn't cook. He just wanted to enter the house. That was the only thing. Alright. And Anil says, okay, fine. If you can cook, I can feed you. That won't be a problem. He took me to his room over the Juman sweet shop and told me I could sleep on the balcony. But the meal I cooked that night must have been terrible because Anil gave it to a stray dog and told me to be off. But I just hung around, smiling in my most appealing way, and he couldn't help laughing. So he took Hari Singh to his house, and there was a sweet shop called Juman Sweet Shop. On that there was a small room where Anil used to stay, and he said, okay, let's go up. And he showed him around. He said, you can sleep in the balcony. There was a small balcony. He said, you can sleep in the balcony, I'll sleep in the room. And he said, okay, you can cook food. And he said, Hari Singh said, he must have cooked so badly, so terrible it must be that Anil could not even eat the food. So what, he didn't complain or he didn't shout at that boy saying, you told me you could cook but actually you can't cook. He didn't complain or anything. He didn't say a thing. What he did, the food which was left, he gave it to the stray dog. Stray dog is the other street dogs. So he gave it to the stray dog and he did not say anything, and he said, you can go and sleep now. And Hari Singh, but he did not go to sleep. He just tagged along with Anil, and with his pledges kept smiling. So by looking at him, Anil found it very amusing, and he found him very funny in his behavior. So he just laughed at him, thinking he's just a kid, and he was finding it very funny that he's keeping on moving around and smiling away. He didn't mind Hari Singh being there. Later, he patted me on the head and said, never mind. He'd teach me to cook. He also taught me to write my name and said he would soon teach me to write whole sentences and to add numbers. I was grateful. I knew that once I could write like an educated man, there would be no limits to what I could achieve. So, when he kept on smiling and being around Anil found it funny, and then he taps his head. He just, with affection, you just you put your hand on the head. So he tapped him and said, it's okay. He knew that, okay, he had made terrible food. He said, it's okay, I'll teach you how to cook. That's no problem. I'll teach you. And not only that, he taught him how to write his name, and he also told that he will teach him to write sentences and to calculate and all. So, and Hari Singh was very happy. He said, sure. He readily agreed. He said, okay. And because he said, I knew that once he knew how to read and write like an educated fellow, he can do wonders. That's what he said. That there was no limit to what he could achieve. He knew the power of education. He understood the value of education, that he was not educated, he was so smart at his work. So if he was educated, what all things he could do. There was no limits to achieving things, right? His achievements, there are no limits. It was quite pleasant working for Anil. I made the tea in the morning and then would take my time buying the day's supply, usually making a profit about ₹1 a day. I think he knew I made a little money this way, but he did not seem to mind. So now he started staying with Anil, and his work was, in the morning he would make tea for Anil and to buy daily supplies, daily groceries, to cook things and all, right? what all things are needed. So Anil used to give him money to go and buy things. And what he used to do, every day he used to save a penny. No, it wasn't saving. He used to steal from there. He used to steal 1 rupee every day. Whatever he used to buy from there, he used to steal 1 rupee. And it was possible that Anil knew about it. That yeah, he does that, but Anil did not mind. He didn't say anything. He didn't tell, or he didn't complain, or he didn't feel bad about it. He just let it be. He said it's okay. All right. Anil made money by fits and starts. He would borrow 1 week, lend the next. He kept worrying about his next check, but as soon as it arrived, he would go out and celebrate. It seems he wrote for magazine, a queer way to make a living. So what was Anil doing? What was his profession? Well, Anil didn't have a proper job. Alright. He used to fit and start means do small work or jobs here and there, and he used to when he didn't have money by mid of the month or end of the month, he used to borrow money and from his friends do the work whatever he requires to do, and then he would give it back when his money came. He would give it back to his friend. So means he didn't have, that shows he was not very rich, or he was not well off. Okay, he had very limited amount. But what was it? And he kept always worrying about, what will happen? My check has not come. He used to be worried about the money part always. But as soon as his money would come, was he a saver? No. Was he working with money properly? No. What he used to do? As soon as he used to get money, he used to go and celebrate with his friends. He used to just go and have party with his friends. So that was what he used to do with his money. And it seemed actually the profession what Anil was in, he was a writer. Alright, he used to write for a magazine. And it was a queer way of making living, means it was an odd way of making living. He was not Hari did not understand, Hari Singh did not understand much about it. So he said that's an odd way of getting money. So he was, because it was not a fixed amount. Alright. One evening he came home with a small bundle of notes, saying he had just sold a book to a publisher. At night I saw him tuck the money under the mattress. I had been working for Anil for almost a month, and apart from cheating on the shopping, had not done anything in my line of work. I had every opportunity for doing so. Anil had given me a key to the door, and I could come and go as I pleased. He was the most trusting person I had ever met, and that is why it was so difficult to rob him. So one day what happened? Anil came with a bundle of notes. He had got money, lump sum amount of money by selling a book which he wrote, and he had tucked, while going off to sleep, he tucked it under his mattress. Mostly people do it, right, where they put money under their pillow and all that. So same like that, Anil put it under his mattress. Now Anil was a very trusting kind of a person. He trusted people very easily, and that is why he trusted Hari Singh very easily. And because he had given, it was a month that Hari Singh was working for Anil, and Anil used to give him money for buying things, never asking for any calculation, or that where did you spend, budget and all. He never used to ask anything about expenditure, even though Hari Singh was cheating him in that shopping, right? He used to cheat him with 1 rupee, but he didn't mind that. Okay, he was doing that, and not more than that. Even Hari Singh was not doing anything bigger thing. He was just taking 1 rupee. He must have thought only 1 rupee a day, so he didn't mind that also. And Anil and Hari Singh had not done anything big and no fraud or cheating. He had not done anything till the time he was with Anil. Because why? What was the reason? Because Anil was very trusting. He was aware. He trusted Hari Singh, and that made Hari Singh not cheat him. And why not? Let's see. Why not? He says it is easy to rob a greedy man because he can't afford to be robbed. But it's difficult to rob a careless man. Sometimes he doesn't even notice he is being robbed, and that takes all the pleasure out of the work. Now, many times the robbers, the cheaters, they cheat because they feel very proud that they have cheated someone and हमने ये किया और किसी को पता नहीं चला. You understand? So they think like that. It's like an art for them. It's like magic for them that in front of so many people, taking a thing in front of so many people without being noticed. That was the thrill of the work. That was the kick they used to get out of it. So that was what Hari Singh used to get. That it was easy when someone doesn't trust you and you are not trusting a person, you're keeping an eye on the person. Then while you are keeping an eye on that person, he is robbing without your knowledge. So that gives him the kick that, see, she's trying to be over smart. She's keeping all the eye on me कि मैं चोरी नहीं हूँ. And see, उसके आंखों के सामने I rob the place. So that's what Hari Singh used to feel. But that is what he's saying about which made him not rob Anil, which made it difficult for him to rob Anil. What? That Anil was very trusting. He was trusting Hari Singh a lot, and now to break the trust was very difficult because he gave him the key of the house and he could go and come whenever and wherever he liked. So nobody to ask him anything. So naturally he says it's easy to rob a greedy man. If a person is greedy, it is easy to rob him because he can afford to be robbed. Because he has money to be robbed. But did Anil have a lot of money? No, Anil did not have a lot of money. He was a person who used to live in a limited amount of money, right? So he says it's easy to rob a greedy man who has a lot of money and is greedy for more. It is easy to rob that person because he has money too, which can be robbed. But it is difficult to rob a careless man, a person who doesn't care. Like Anil was a careless man. He didn't care whether Hari Singh took 1 rupee or what he was doing. He didn't bother. He never tried to check on him. So he said it was, and because he was careless, he wouldn't come to know that how much money is robbed, or is the money robbed or no, or what is Hari Singh doing. So he had no knowledge about it. He didn't care. So that's what he's saying, that it is difficult to rob a careless man because sometimes he doesn't even notice he is being robbed. And what is the fun if he doesn't come to know that he has been robbed? Maza kya hai? There's no fun in that. No achievement, right? Well, it's time I did some real work. So this time he thought, bas bahut ho gaya. Every time I rob 1 rupee and Anil doesn't come to know also. But this time I will do something big, the real work. Bada hath marunga jo koi say in Hindi. I told myself I'm out of practice, and if I don't take the money, he'll only waste it on his friends. After all, he doesn't even pay me. So in his mind, he thought, but this time I'm going to do a real work. I'm going to really rob a big amount. And to satisfy his inner conscience, he said to himself, that वैसे भी I'm out of practice. I need to practice my skills. That the skills were of robbing. So I think I need to practice my skills. I'm going out of practice, and वैसे भी Anil doesn't need money. If I leave the money here, he will go and spend it on his friends. So he is not doing anything important with that money. So nothing which is useful. So he's not doing anything useful with that money. He's going to throw that away on the party only. So it is better that I take it. And basically he is not even paying. Anil was not paying Hari Singh a penny for his work. So he said, I owe him, he owes me money, it's like that. So I think it's like my salary, it's my money kind of thing. And he thinks that night he is going to rob Anil. Okay, so we'll stop here and we'll see what happens in the further story, what happens. Till then, you people read the story if you have, and any doubts please let me know. With this we complete our lesson for today and we finish our class. Thank you very much.